Perhaps I'm a member of this organization and I notice that I know that our executive director, for example, now has his own email, and I think I might like to tell you that. I'm recognizing, of course, that we're talking about the data manager organization or a program of this organization, but supposing it was someone else who happened to notice that they'd like to give the email for this particular executive director. Or maybe they just noticed something else. Maybe they noticed a typo in the record and they'd like to fix it. In that case, this is the critical link, suggest an update. So when you suggest an update, you get some basic information about who's looking after this record, some alternatives for how you might provide changes for the record. You don't necessarily have to do it through this form, but supposing you do, or you can actually click and email. This is Angie's email. You can actually click and send her the email directly out of this form. But supposing I'm a member of this organization and I'm a member of the public also, and I need to, I want to suggest an update. I would go to the field that I'm wanting to suggest an update for. And supposing all of a sudden I want to suggest that there are other locations. And so I would type in here, I'm just going to put a little note for Angie so she knows. Okay, so I might well then put some information about a new location at 22 or 33 Main Street West. Whoops, sorry. And I might give some more information about this other location that we now have. And then everything else in the record is ship shape. So I would go down to the bottom to here. And I'm going to write a little note again. Please ignore this update suggestion. It is being processed in connection with training. I don't want people to be alarmed. So I'm going to say I cannot authorize that because obviously I can't. And I'm going to say that it's not a complete update. But you basically answer these questions. I can authorize this. This is a complete update, or it's a no longer valid record, and so on. And then I put in my security check. And I'm actually going to do this. So, and then I go to my drop down for my month. And I put in my year. And I actually submit this update. But what's going to happen, I'm actually realized I skipped too fast over. It's not going to actually let me submit this update because I haven't provided any provenance about who I am. So I'm going to say, database trainer, and I'm going to put my email in here. And I'm going to put my phone number just, and I'm not, so here we are. I'm now ready to submit this update suggestion. And I'm actually going to do it since this is the organization that is the sort of overarching sponsor of the feast here. So I'm going to submit this. And when I do, are you going? There we go. It gives me a message, says thank you, and right away I get an email, as you can see, because I gave my email address, and it says, you submitted feedback. The following is a summary of what you submitted. and I can view the record or if I have concerns. So everybody who submits update suggestions from the public view, who provides an email, will get a confirmation that they have done so. But in addition to this email to me as the one who suggested it, Angie as the data manager will also get an email, and the organization itself will get an email saying that I have made this suggestion. And this is to ensure that mischief does not occur. Now, we've been using this software for since the year 2000, so we're in our 11th year of using it. The number of times there's been mischievous updates posted has been probably, I could count on one hand during all those years. It's just not all that satisfying to somebody who's a mischief maker to suggest fake updates, but there is provision to ensure that the organization knows that someone has suggested. So even if you're part of the organization, your organization will still get an email to the email address that they have documented in their record. Now I want to show you a little bit about what happens, and I'm actually going to open another browser in order to show you this, because I think you'll be interested to see. So I'm going to do I have logged in privileges for this database because I was helping Angie and needed them for today even. So I'm actually going to log in because I want you to see what has happened when I log in. You can see mine looks different from yours. I've got all this power down the side here. But what I want to show you is my suggestion. Here it is right here. This is what they're seeing. As data managers, they see this. But I'm actually going to update this right now to show you what happens after I do it. So if I go into this, I see my note. Remember I wrote this note? Please ignore the update suggestions. It's being processed in terms of connection with the database. And as the data manager, you won't see this, of course, as an outside user, but you'll be interested to see what happens to me as the suggestor. So as I go down, what I see is in red, I see the thing that I've suggested. And if I actually wanted to do that, I could click on this add button, and this information I put into this field would become part of the record. I'm obviously not going to do that because it's fake information. So I'm actually going to submit without processing the suggestion that was made because I want you to see what happens. You can see here, this is my information because I was the one who suggested it. And if I was going to do this, I could just click update all the way along. So the data manager doesn't actually have to retype anything. They just go tick, 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 tick. They obviously check content and spelling and such things, but they don't have to retype what you suggested. So your suggestions are really helpful because they're actually sitting there waiting to be bumped into the record in a very simple way. And that's part of why it's possible to maintain a big database with the community's help for updates, because there's the amount of repeat typing that has to happen is minimized. So I'm going to submit this update now. And you'll recall that I didn't actually do any. And now I've got another email as the suggestor. And it's saying that my suggestion has been processed. And I can now go and look at the record in its changed state. So as a person who suggests updates, you will get these kinds of affirmations, both of what you suggest and of the fact that your suggestions were processed, to confirm and encourage, frankly, to encourage you to assist with updating the database. The other thing that you will get when the data managers are working is an update request. Now, I'm not going to I'm not going to process this. But the data manager, now remember I'm on the data management side, we can actually email an update request to this organization and ask them to update their record. We can do it one at a time. We can edit the record as we go, and we'll be able to see what, and this is what it would look like. It would be going to this recipient, which is the email and the record from Angie, and this is what it would say. So when you have a record in the database and Angie wants you to update it, this is the kind of email message you're going to get. It's going to say, update your database listing. Are we current? Here's the record. You'll have a link directly to the form that you can click on and go directly there and suggest updates. And then the emails will begin that confirm that you've done it and then confirm when it's processed. The data managers are also able to send out these email requests in bulk. So if everything that was due to be updated in November, with an update schedule of November, they could send them all out at once. So it's very efficient from their perspective. I'm going to go back to our public view because I don't want to get too far into the data management side of things, because obviously you're not going to be doing that. But your assistance in being able to suggest an update, either by going directly to your record in the database or by responding to an email request for an update from Angie, or if there isn't a record for your organization, by suggesting a new listing from those links from the front page, all of those things are really going to assist.